What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for watching Mikasa Sukasa, and I am your host, Niko. I also want to thank you all so much for watching. If you're watching right now, go ahead and help us on our road to 10,000 subscribers. We have gotten 700 subscribers this month alone. Well, in the last 30 days. I shouldn't say this month. It's only been 2 days. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. In this month alone, though, in the last 30 days, we've gotten 700 subscribers. That's freaking amazing. It means we're doing something right, clearly. So if you're watching this video, make sure that you subscribe. Also, make sure you join our one follow, $1 campaign on Patreon, where we show the mainstream media that if they will not invest in the truth, then we will invest in those who do. So I do want to go ahead and get started. Now, I waited a little bit to post my FISA memo video. I know some of you all have been waiting for it, but there's a reason. I wanted to make sure that I wanted to give the Democrats their chance to rebuttal, but they're taking too long. I thought it would happen maybe earlier today or even later yesterday. However, they haven't put a rebuttal out. They act like they had it prepared and ready to go. But then I realized really fast why they didn't prepare one, or if they did, why they haven't put it out. It's because initially, reading the memo, I didn't really feel any bias. Like, I didn't feel any anti-democratic bias, if that makes sense. Everything in that memo, unless I missed something, was a material fact, which actually alarms me even further, because if they read that memo and they got freaked out, the Democrats, I mean, like the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, if they read that memo and they got freaked out, that likely means that they were terrified about the American public learning of material facts. They were claiming that this was an intelligence community issue, that the sanctity of our intelligence agencies and the institution of our intelligence community is at risk if we release this memo. It is stating basic facts, material facts, that would otherwise come up in the long run anyway. Like if it came, I'm gonna put it like this: if Trump had to sit in front of a Senate Judiciary Committee or a impeachment hearing, these would come up anyway. So why they pretend as if this was just absolutely horrific? It's beyond me, because it's just material facts. Now, once again, that lets us know that the Democrats are probably worried that we will find out what exactly is in here. So I want to go over really quickly the gems that stand out to me about the memo and what I will be looking for going forward. So you all, if you haven't read the memo, so neither the initial application in October in 2016 nor any of the renewals disclosed the initial application for the FISC investigation into Carter. So none of those disclose or reference any role of the DNC, the Clinton campaign, or any party or campaign in Steele's funding efforts. Now, the political origins of Steele's dossier was known to the FBI and the Department of Justice, but they did not reveal that in their report or their application to investigate Carter. Now, that is problematic because if any of you have done a report, you know that's a no-no, right? Off the gate. You don't leave out necessary material facts that if something had gone wrong later on down the line, someone else could be held accountable for, because that's what's happening right now. If I was going to prepare a warrant, for example, or even apply for something like that, you need to disclose how did you get, who's the witness, what's making you do the warrant, who's the witness, how do you know the witness, where did the witness come from, how is that, are they credible, are they not credible, did you see the proof yourself? Things like that are extremely important, because if they find out you got the warrant under false pretense, that's a big deal, and that's essentially what we're seeing right now. So the report only notes that Steele was working as a known U.S. person, but not named Fusion GPS or Glenn Simpson, who was paid by Perkins Coie, which was the law firm representing the DNC. See, that's a little bit more problematic for me. Probably more important than the first thing. The reason why is because you put known U.S. person. That means you had clear intentions, because it's not like you were not supposed to mention the subject. Like, as in, not that you weren't supposed to mention the acting party that influenced the application. You had to, which made you say U.S. person instead of Fusion GPS, Glenn Simpson, Perkins Coie, Clinton campaign, whatever. You purposely hid that fact, which means you knew it was nefarious, which means you knew it was bullshit, but yet you pushed it anyway, clearly showing political bias and a very obvious political agenda, if I do say so myself. Or else you would just go ahead and say, this is who told us to do it, but the facts are accurate, so can we go ahead and proceed on this, and then leave it up to whatever. But it seems like to me, the person who prepared it and then the person who signed the application to investigate, to spy, they were trying to cover their butt, so they used language as general as humanly possible. That's how it works. So now they knew of the political biases. Once again, the dossier was supported and paid for by Clinton and her little camp of Fusion GPS and that law firm that was working for the DNC. And they pursued it anyway. Mind you, our federal judge told us very clearly, by the way, and not to mention, ironically enough, the DNC even talked about this, the DNC attorney. They said, this is simply an angry reaction to a political agenda, or with a political agenda. That's what this lawsuit is about. It's about politics. What the hell is this, DNC? FBI? Mueller? Anybody want to explain to me what this is? My friends and attorneys were like being just attacked viciously because what we were doing as a DNC fraud lawsuit, by the way, which was initiated before the primary was over, well before the primary was over. They said it was an angry reaction to a loss that hadn't even happened yet. But however, this investigation is supposed to be legitimate, right? Nothing political to do with it, except for the fact that you refuse to mention any of the political entities involved and that they all were paid for by one party in the middle of an election. The memo assesses that Steele did not provide information to Yahoo News, although Steele admitted that he did meet with Yahoo News during the British court filings and other media outlets as well. Here's what's interesting about this. He met with Yahoo News at the order of Fusion GPS. That's problematic, right? Once again, Steele also has been an FBI informant in the past, and that was breaking the rules for Steele. That's why he was supposedly let go as an FBI informant. But he lied. He said he didn't meet with Yahoo, but he admitted he met with Yahoo in Britain. This is who we're basing this entire investigation off of. I just want y'all to know that. So, the Deputy Attorney General, Bruce Orr's wife, was employed by Fusion GPS to assist with the cultivation of the opposition research on Trump. Sweet baby Jesus, why is she even allowed to work there when her husband is the Attorney General? Why is she allowed to have a conversation? Or better yet, why was Orr even allowed to engage in this matter if his wife helped prepare the opposition research, which ultimately led to, obviously, the dossier? No conflict of interest, you say. Well, maybe they didn't do anything to pursue it or break any type of ethical rules or nah. Or use that information paid for by the DNC to give to the FBI. The Deputy Attorney General engaged in political games with a dossier that was gathered partially, or at least facilitated, by his wife, and gave that information to the FBI. that was paid for directly by the DNC. And nobody has a problem with this. Y'all are so worried about the institutions of the United States of America. They're broken. Yeah, but it started long before Donald Trump, people. This is, I don't know if you want to call it pay for play. It's like evolved beyond pay for play at this point. But Orr's relationship with Steele and Fusion GPS was inexplicably concealed in the application to investigate. Weird. Wouldn't that be considered a conflict of interest, maybe? By anybody else's definition of conflict of interest? Maybe if your wife is giving you the information and she's paid to get that information from the Democratic Party, and then you know that her being paid for this information affects your bank account, and so you give this information to the FBI to pursue? Maybe a problem? No? Okay, whatever. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm being a little bit too judgmental. Let's continue. After Steele was terminated, a source validation report conducted by an independent unit within the FBI assessed that Steele's reporting was only minimally corroborated. If you don't know what that means nobody pretty much said that any of it was true except for maybe one, if not two people. And that's probably even a stretch. That means they only found a little bit of information to say that even part of it was even partially true. So, even though Comey characterized the dossier as salacious and unverified, they have been using this dossier to verify or to justify all of the attacks, all the propaganda, all the bullshit you hear in the news every day, to say that Trump is probably guilty. Maybe, possibly. We haven't been able to prove it. Steele's being sued right now. Fusion GPS is also being sued right now for the lies that they told and funded. BuzzFeed is being sued right now for printing the lies. But let's everybody go crazy. Even though Comey himself said that all that shit was bull. Comey said this. The same guy who's on Twitter every day talking about, oh, the FBI, we need to protect our institutions. Trump, Russia, we're doing Putin's job for him. What? There's nothing that's just, this is disgusting. The quid pro quo-esque behavior that we're seeing, the clear at the end of, if nothing else, people, this is your FBI. This is your Attorney General, who is supposed to have clear objectivity, unquestioned objectivity. And that's not happening. At the very minimum, I would be livid, and I am personally livid by that fact. But they believe that Russia is our country's biggest problem. Come on. The FISA application actually relied on Steele's past record of credible reporting on other unrelated matters, but it ignored and or concealed his anti-Trump financial and ideological motivations, as Steele did admit that he desperately did not want Trump to be in office, which is kind of weird because he doesn't really live in this country. So I don't know what was so important to him about that. But Deputy Director McCabe testified before the committee in December 2017 that no surveillance warrant would have been sought from or without the Steele dossier. No surveillance warrant would have been sought without the Steele dossier. In other words, they obtained a warrant based off of incomplete information, falsified information, and information that even director at the time, James Comey, said was salacious and unverified. They based an entire investigation from an unverified source. Where they do that at? What FBI is this? Come on, people. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Our institutions have to do better, and we can only do that by holding our institutions and the people who are in charge of them and ran them and were involved in that situation. Everyone should be held accountable. Every single one of them. I don't care if you like Trump or Hillary, whoever you like. I don't care. It's not about either of them. And until you all understand that, this is going to continue. It may not continue with this presidency, but it'll happen the next time the establishment or that party doesn't want someone to win. Because this part doesn't have anything to do with the deep state. This is just people pissed because they were guaranteed jobs. It's not the same thing as the deep state. Deep state. That's a different discussion for a different day. But this is our American institution, or lack thereof. Thank you all so much for watching, and always remember, ladies and gentlemen, find your balance.